Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast. And I'm excited because I'm a client of this young gentleman. Actually, we're not young anymore, but I still think
I turned 40 this year, man. I'm not there yet, but I'm a few months away.
I know. I'm 44. God, I woke up and I go, wait, I'm middle-aged now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you. I probably don't need much introduction because I've talked about you in the past and I bring up the Carrot websites. Please welcome the founder of Carrot. We got Trevor here. He's based in Roseburg, Oregon. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this have seen you. You're on YouTube all over. You've been interviewed many times, been on many stages, and I really appreciate you coming into my platform to talk to our loyal viewers and listeners. And today we're going to go, I guess we're going to call it meat and potato. We're going to dive deep into motivated seller leads, evergreen marketing content strategies. I really want this to be of value for everybody here that's listening or will listen to this in the future. And guys, a quick note, I've always studied real estate and I still do to this day. I found Carrot years ago. I set up, when I was buying in South Bend, Indiana, I set up a website. I followed the recipe that Carrot provided for me. And I probably did a pretty poor job of following the recipe, to be honest with you, but I quickly ranked on the first page of Google, just like I was promised I would. I followed the recipe, and there's so much you can do. And I probably scratched about 10% or maybe even less than 10% on the surface. And I quickly ranked and I bought the two best deals I've ever had from my Carrot website. And I bought one property in particular that I'm going to talk about today, which was my cheapest acquisition, but yet my best acquisition. I bought a 2-bedroom, 1-bath property in South Bend, Indiana for, I ended up settling and buying it for $9,600. This was in 2015, I believe, or 2016. So the prices still hadn't been crazy. I mean, so it was a very cheap rental property. I put in $6,000 to make it rent ready. And to this day, it's been renting out for just slightly under $700 a month.
Dude.
So every time I get a rent check from that, I go, this is Carrot, this is Carrot, this is Carrot. The other property I bought was, I bought it for $22,000. I put in $10,000 of work. This was back when properties were cheap in India. Now it's not the same, but I ended up renting it out for $1,250 a month. And then after a year, I flipped it for, sold it for just under $90,000.
Dude, geez.
Yeah. So the point is that when I really look at pay-per-click, which works, I do pay-per-click. So I used to, I don't do it anymore. But when I look at the fundamentals of ranking on the first page of Google, somebody that's extremely motivated goes to my website and fills out a form showing me how motivated they are, telling me the price they want pretty much. And all I have to do is follow up. And there's automations too. It's already sending them a message as soon as and it's sending me a text message. I mean, to me, that is the best lead you can possibly get. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Dude, Beau, I'm pumped to be on here, man. I know we had a chance to meet in person. It was probably like 4 years ago, before pandemic, maybe 3 years ago. And dude, I'm pumped to be on here with you. I've always looked up to you big time and excited to be here with your audience.
So let's talk lead generation. Let's talk about the fundamentals of a motivated seller. And in the olden days, there wasn't a website, there wasn't an internet, and they would have to maybe go through a phone book and word of mouth, try to get there. Now, what do people do when they need an answer? They go to the almighty Google, and what Carrot does really well is when somebody puts in "sell my house fast" or something like that, some kind of keyword. If you do that throughout the nation, most likely you're going to find a Carrot website. And so what Carrot's done, and I'm not a techie, guys, but what Carrot's done is basically made this website available to investors throughout the nations, and with a framework of how to build it. And when you do the basics, it's over time, it's going to rank without much work on your end. Now, the more work you put in, the better results you're going to get, and you're going to get the framework. And so to me, there's no other better option than a motivated seller website. I think it's the #1 place. And then you talk about evergreen content marketing. So Trevor obviously runs this company, and understands the marketing but he also does a lot of evergreen content. So I want to kind of dive into the framework of like, Carrot and the potential of Carrot, and what somebody out there that never set up a website, that's just still looking at MLS deals, what a website like this could do for them, and the framework of how they get started with something like this.
Dude, for sure, man. And I kind of want to start with like the really high level, also kind of, why is it that as about 8 or 9 years ago, I made a shift from what I call hamster wheel marketing, which is like, it's marketing that you do one time and it works for a finite period of time, where it could be picking up the phone and calling, or direct mail, or door knocking. Like, they all work, right? That's the thing. Every one of those marketing methods work. But the problem is, you do the thing, and then you have to stay on that hamster wheel. You have to keep on picking up the phone and call. You have to keep on sending out mail. You have to keep on knocking on doors to keep the leads coming in. And so when I was getting burnt out in my previous company before Carrot, and I've told the story many, many times in my podcast, but it's like, man, I built a business that was supposed to give me freedom. I was going that I want to be an entrepreneur because of freedom and impact, right? And I built this business that paid me really well, because I did a lot of hamster wheel marketing, and it paid me very well, but it trapped me. It made it to where I couldn't really schedule like a 2-week vacation with my family, because I always had to be working to keep the leads coming in, because I was doing hamster wheel marketing. And whenever I would get burnt out, I would stop doing that activity. And then I'd be like, well, I'm just going to like take a break. And then of course my leads would go down in about, and then my deals would go down in 30 to 60 days, whether it's on the real estate side or the retail side that I was on before. And so when I was kind of looking for that change, I was going, man, there's got to be a better way to grow my business, to where my business supports me rather than me supporting my business. Right. And I think a lot of people probably listening to this are in that mode where you might even be making good money, but you're supporting your business. And if we kind of look at that almost like a stool, right? Where a stool, if it's got one leg, it's not going to stand up on its own. You physically got to sit on that stool. And that one leg might be that one marketing method, or it might be hamster wheel marketing only, where when you get off of that stool, it's going to fall over. You're supporting that business. But instead, let's say you add a couple few legs to that stool, and you've got a 3-legged or 4-legged stool with some evergreen marketing attached to it. And maybe you're still doing some hamster wheel marketing. Now this stool, when you stand up, it stands on its own. And that's what we want our businesses to do. And so in that transition, Beau, we'll kind of lead into what people can do. In that transition, I started to look at my marketing, and I said, because I knew I had to change my business, because I was completely burnt out, did not want to continue working in the business that I had created for myself. And I said, what are the things in my business that were like the most consistent and predictable? Because that was one of the non-negotiables I had written down at that time. I'd written down the things I did not like about my business. And then I just did the opposite of those. And I wrote down the things that I call my 5 non-negotiables for my business. I wrote these in 2012. And one of those non-negotiables was consistent, predictable income, because my previous company was not. I'd do $112,000 one month, and then the next month 10, and then 50, and then 4. And I had a 50-50 business partner. You split that both ways. The end of the year, your tax statement shows you did pretty good, but every month you're stressed because you don't know where the deals are coming from, right? And so I looked at my marketing, and I said, where is my best deals coming from, and what's giving me the best ROI? And way down there, like, line item that was providing less than 10% of my revenue was this thing that I now call evergreen marketing. But it was things I did 3 years prior to that, Beau. That was the thing. I created this content and put this content on the internet 3 years prior to that. And it was still bringing me leads and sales every single month, 3 years later. And I go, man, what if I just did that? Like, what if I just did that and stopped all this other stuff up here that's keeping me on the hamster wheel? Could I build a business that set me free and that supported me versus me supporting it? And so that kind of began my journey with evergreen marketing. And at a high level, guys, what evergreen marketing is rather than hamster wheel, where you do marketing once and then it has a limited lifespan, you got to keep on doing over and over again. Evergreen, it's kind of like stacking bricks, right? It's like you do marketing one time and it works for years, but it's hard work to get there. Okay. So if you guys picture a pile of bricks over there, and it's not a wall yet, but you've got a vision for this wall that's going to bounce everything back for you. It's going to hold the house up. The wall is going to hold the things up, right? But that pile of bricks over there is not a wall yet, and it's going to require work. I'm going to grab a brick and I'm going to slap it down there, and I'm going to grab another one, put some mortar on it. eventually I've worked hard. My hands are dirty. Things hurt. I go, man, I put in some hard work, but I've only got one row of bricks.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi, this is Beau, host of the Investor Financing Podcast. I appreciate you checking out our channel. On this podcast, we talk about real estate, investing, financing, business lending, and acquiring and expanding your business. I'm sure you will find some videos here that will help you build your business empire. There's a lot to see. Take your time and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks again.
And that wall's not doing anything for me yet. It's not going to hold up a house. It's not going to hold up anything. And that's where a lot of people stop with their content. We're going to talk about content and evergreen marketing here in a second and how we've amplified that at Carrot. But a lot of people stop at their 5th or 10th or 15th or 20th piece of content, their 20th YouTube video. You know, you're on that journey right now, or they posted 10 times on their website or whatever. And they go, it doesn't work. It's too much work. I'm going to go back over here to the hamster wheel. Right. And so instead I challenge people to go, okay, stack another brick, which is another piece of content on your website. It's another piece of content on YouTube. It's a piece of content that's going to be on the internet in perpetuity with a chance to rank really well in Google now and in 3, 4, 5 years. And our best clients are taking their content that they're currently putting on Facebook and Instagram or even YouTube, you know, their videos that are maybe 3 to 8, 3 to 10 minutes long. I'll tell you guys why that length matters here in a second. But if you take your 3 to 10 minute long videos that are expert driven content and get them, not take them off of Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, but say, that should not be the hub of my content because that's hamster wheel. You've got to keep posting more and more content on IG and on Facebook in order to stay at the top of people's feeds, which means you always got to post 3, 4, 5 times a day. You take a break, you stop getting in front of people. So we want to take that best content now, put it over onto your, what we call an authority hub website and optimize it. We'll show you guys how to do it on this call. And then that starts to rank well in Google in perpetuity. Because it's like you said, Beau, the best, most motivated prospects are going to Google, especially house sellers or house buyers. They're going to Google because they tend to reach out and research on Google oftentimes before they reach out to a friend for a referral. And they're going to search things like a sell my house fast Dallas, or how to sell an inherited house in Duluth, or best real estate agents in Roseburg, or wholesale properties in Louisville. They're going to search those out. And those people that are doing those Google searches are the most motivated by far because they're actively right now seeking out a solution versus the ones that you're hoping you'll activate with a cold call or direct mail. And I'll give one data point, then I'm going to toss it back to you. We were having questions where people were asking us like, how much better are the evergreen leads, right? How much better are the leads that come through YouTube or from Google? I'm going to share 2 data points with you. One of them is from surveying from our clients. The other one's from our Google Analytics. And I could even pull this up on my screen and show you guys our analytics on the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of leads that come in every single year to our system. But right here, so average in the survey, the lead to deal conversion rate. So the leads that our clients get through evergreen marketing, or someone finds you through Google or through YouTube, compared to their other types of marketing, is 8.2% of the leads that they got turned into a deal. And I'm talking seller leads here. Their other marketing, it was 1.11% of the leads that they got turned into a deal. So almost 8 times higher lead to deal conversion rate.
That's
dude, it gets you guys off the hamster wheel, right? Because that 8 times more leads, someone's got to sift through those leads in your team. It's either you or someone. So people aren't even talking about this, not just the lead to deal. Like your company fundamentally has to be different if you have lower quality leads. You have to have someone go through them, right? And then the average value per deal, or the average profit per deal with evergreen marketing, because they're more motivated prospects, is $23,089.26, according to our survey to our clients. Hundreds of people replied to it. The other type of marketing, direct mail, cold calling, wherever else they were doing marketing, the average profit per deal was $9,159.11. So over 2 times higher profit per deal. And when we look at those numbers, guys, it's like, that to me is why I switched over to evergreen marketing as my foundation. Then I amplify with hamster wheel, because you have better quality prospects. They convert higher. They're easier to work with. You can make far more income with less deals. And now you have to have fewer employees to sift through bad leads. So I'll toss over to you, man. But that's the case for evergreen. Then I can walk you guys through exactly what to do on the tactical.
Yeah, I don't even know the data points, but now you just verified for me. But I just knew from my experience that these leads are way better and they're easier to close. I mean, it's just it's like when I was doing pay-per-click, I just did a campaign actually for my lending business, and it was like I got a ton of leads on these pay-per-click deals, but you know what? None of them converted. And the ones that I took down to the finish line at the last minute, they're like, "Oh, I don't need this loan anymore," and it just really wasted my time.
Yep.
Versus like these type of leads, they're super motivated, and it's like you're interacting with them right away. It was funny. I was focused on my South Bend website, but I also at one time had built another one for Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yep.
And I ended up never like buying there. And I started getting all these leads. And then, and funny thing is some SEO guy, marketing, and he's also a real estate investor. He found the website. He wants to like partner with me because he sees that it's ranking fairly well. And he knows that I'm not even like putting any effort towards that site anymore. But then I got smart. I said, oh, well, when these leads come in, I'm going to have to start wholesaling deals, and started wholesaling deals. So, but it is truly amazing. Like, and I love how you talk about the bricks, right? Like, it's not like you're going to put this website out, and sure, over time, this website with doing the bare minimum will rank somewhere, but you got to stack the bricks, and Trevor's group makes it easy because they have content packs and stuff that kind of give you keyword content to put out there. But really, like, if you really want to supercharge it, that's when you start doing video blogs and you embed, and you guys do like live classes all the time. So it's easy to plug in. You can even have your assistant. Like, what I started doing was having my virtual assistant learn this process, because then you can outsource that to them and do it. And then you guys have a marketplace within where you guys will build out multiple pages. So if you're buying in, like, let's just say you're buying in Indiana, and you're buying in South Bend, Indiana, and you're buying in Niles, Michigan, you can basically clone each page, get the keyword juice, Google juice there. So it's very easy to have one website that ranks in multiple cities. And so that's pretty cool too, because, and then what I would do is I just buy like a good domain name, like Sell My House Fast South Bend, Indiana, southbend.com, Sell My House Fast southbend.com. And then it was like, boom, it was like instant. So like, what's changed the most over the last year or two in SEO and ranking, and what are the kind of like, are you seeing more people doing video? What are your takeaways at this point going forward?
Yeah, let me show this, man, because one thing about me, Beau, at Carrot, is like, I'm a big data guy, and kind of a geek with data. I'm just going to show you guys the data, and then we'll show you guys what influenced the data, so you guys know exactly what to do with it and what has changed by data, not by third-hand knowledge. So if you guys are watching the video version of this on Beau's YouTube, I'm showing our Google Analytics for about the 10,000 websites or so. I mean, this isn't all the websites in this chunk of it, but it's about 7,000 members in this data point. Now, of course, just like with anything, there's a number of people who don't do anything with it, and there's a number of people who are power users, and then there's a lot of people in between. And so what I'm showing it is the Google Analytics on the traffic and leads to our clients' websites in aggregate. So you don't get to see the leads here, but we see the data. And this is from like the start of COVID, basically. So it's about a 2-year period from the start of COVID. And what I'm going to show is this. So users would essentially be like traffic. It's unique people who landed on our clients' websites. The majority of these leads are sellers. So the majority of this 933,604 opt-in leads in the past 2 years is sellers. And the majority of those are organic search sellers, people who did a Google search, landed on a client's website, and became a lead. Now, this doesn't include the phone calls. So you can add on probably another 300,000 to 500,000 leads on top of that almost million. That is phone call leads that didn't submit, but they picked up the phone and call. We just can't track it through the GA, through Google Analytics through here. And so here's kind of a couple things that have changed, Beau. So when COVID hit, immediately things took a dip, of course, in traffic. Like, there's about a 3-week period when COVID originally hit in March, where everyone kind of clamped down and went, oh my gosh, what do I do? And so there's about a 30% dip in traffic to our clients' websites, which was, in hindsight, that was understandable because no one knew what was going to happen. Could I sell my house when COVID hit or whatever? And then we started to see a big uptick in traffic. So you can see as I'm kind of scrolling through here, let me see if I can get one to stop here to show a date. But this is like going into the back part of 2020. So September 2020 is when searches really picked up big time. Now here's the dichotomy though. Around September 2020 is also when conversion rates on websites started to soften. And so then we look at this and go, why? Like, why did searches pick up and spike, but conversion rates started to go down? Because in that time period, and I'll kind of lead into what has changed in the SEO side. During that time period, we had a lot of people who were thinking about selling, but they were hesitant on selling because once again, things had not unlocked in the economy yet, and they weren't sure if they should sell. So they were holding back on actually opting into websites. And we're still seeing some of that right now in some markets because really hot markets or whatever. So more than anything right now, we need to make sure that if we're doing marketing and driving people to our websites, we should always have what's called retargeting in place right now. Always have retargeting in place because there's a lot of people who are doing research. And you can see the research picked up again towards the start of 2020. Around November, December is when we find that traffic goes down for buyers and sellers, which is logical, right? But then right after the start of the year, it picks up. And every year, around mid-February to mid-March, you have a big uptick in traffic. Okay, that's motivated sellers and cash buyers, the whole thing. And so in this time period where we're recording this live, if you want to really start to get in there and capture some of those leads, whether it's paid or organic, start your SEO, in November, December, January. Like if you're not started yet, start it now, so you can be ready for that next uptick. And then the next thing is I want to show you this really quick, Beau, because this goes towards the video side of it. So if I were to go into, let me see if I can find the right spot. Let's see. What I want to show is where people came from, and what type of, I think it's under audience, I think. If not, man, I'll find it and show you guys. But I was looking at it the other day, and we can actually break down the traffic basically by, and the conversion basically by where they came from. So I'm going to click social right here. I think it's under here. The referrals for leads, especially for sellers, really picked up from YouTube the past 12 to 24 months, big time. Okay. So traffic for it has been really, really on a cool trend as well. So what I'm showing here is in social media as a whole, Facebook is still by far, if we take just the bucket of social media, okay, and we're taking Google organic out of it, Google paid out of it. Social media by far, Facebook is still by a factor of, whatever that is, 100, still by far bringing the most traffic by a factor of 100 over YouTube, over Instagram, over everything for sellers, buyers, the whole thing. But if we look over at conversion over here, so this is the percentage of people who landed on a page on a Carrot client's website. There's over 4.8 million people who landed on the Carrot client's website in that 2 years from Facebook. 2.34% of them, or 134,000, turned into a lead. Like that's just a form submit. Okay. But if we look over here at YouTube, we have 7.2% of every person who ever came to any page on a Carrot site from YouTube became a lead. And it's almost, it's what is that? 3 times higher conversion rate than coming from Facebook. 3 times, almost 4 times higher conversion rate than coming from Instagram. Instagram stories converts really well. So if you guys are not doing stories and you're just doing posts, do more stories, because it converts really well if you put that little sticker on there that links to your website after you're talking about something. So this is what we're going to heavily invest into more, Beau. And I really think that this number from YouTube is going to keep climbing. And we'll tell you guys why and how to get the leads coming off of YouTube here in a bit. But let me show this really quickly here, and I'll show an example that I'm going to toss over to you, man. So if you were to search a phrase like "sell my house Boston" or something like that, right? So "sell my house fast Boston," Google pulls up a suggested search saying, "Hey, someone's searching this in Google," and so I'm just going to type it, pull up their suggestion. There's some people paying for ads here. And then you go down here to the organic listings, which these are the ones that you just have to work for. That's the Evergreen, right? This is a Carrot client right there. I don't know if the number 2 is. I know that the number 1 is. He's the top home buyer in Boston. And when you look at the site, it's a Carrot site. He did modification on it through our services, has his credibility on there, which is really important today. has some pictures of testimonials, has him on there. It's optimized for conversion. It's optimized for SEO.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah.
He's a beast, man. Tom's a beast.
Yeah.
And the thing I want to show is this is that what we call that authority hub. Because when Tom's doing direct mail and when he's doing cold calling and when he's doing radio and TV, what do people do? Man, they definitely pick up their phone and they go like, let me, even if you don't have your URL on that postcard, they're going to Google search your company name. They're going to Google search your name. They're going to try to vet and verify you. Let's say you're doing cold calling and you call a prospect or text message marketing. Guys, what I'm doing, and what a lot of people do too, is you're going to pick up in your phone and go, who keeps calling me from that number? And then you go to Google and then you Google search that phone number, which is usually a tracking phone number. Like it's not your actual phone number, right? And so everything that you guys do, we need to make sure to recognize that all of our offline marketing creates online demand, whether you're doing YouTube videos or it's one-on-one referrals, or whether it's direct mail or cold calling or driving for dollars or whatever. Everything you're doing is creating demand where people are hitting the internet and going, who is this company? Should I work with them? And we need to make sure that your website is not just a website. It needs to be what we call an authority hub. That is the one spot that all your traffic will eventually go to really learn who the heck are they? Should I work with them? And that's where you need to have your credibility. You need to have a good about page that talks about who you are and what you do and your core values, and show the pictures of the people who are going to work with you, and really have the whole thing optimized insanely well for conversion and for Google. And we can dive into tactics there, man, but I'll toss it back over to you.
Yeah, no, that's incredible.